Hello everyone, I hope you guys are keeping well. This is in continuation with the poem that we started yesterday, Refugee Blues. And as we went through the first page on page number 70, I'm just going to reiterate a couple of things before we can continue. Um, as the poet W.H. Auden, Mr. Auden, he's trying to refer to the plight of refugees all around the world. And at the same time he's trying to mention how they feel so unwelcome when they are going to a different country, and how they are forced to what happens when people are forced to leave their own country and move to some other country for refuge, for safety, for security, for better life. It can be any reason. um, Coming back to page number 71, the first line says, "Thought I heard the thunder rumbling in the sky. It was Hitler over Europe saying they must die." So this is the whole soul of the poem, and this is where we try to get an idea that this poem was written by a Jewish refugee, and the poet himself has written this poem when he moved from Germany to New York, and as a refugee in exile, as someone who was forced to leave his country, it is a very difficult testimony to that he's trying to narrate in the form of a poem. Not every time when people relocate ends up in a good story. Here, these people were the German Jews were forced to leave their country because, and this was during the Nazi rule, during the rule of Adolf Hitler, who wanted to basically kill all the Jews. And one of the most worst scenarios of human rights violation happened during the Nazi rule. Jews had a particular different set of rules, and they were segregated from Christians, from other normal Germans. They were not allowed to, their children were not allowed to study in the same school as non-Jews. They had everybody had to wear a yellow star on their shoulder or arm, which signified that they were Jews. They could not talk to non-Jews. They could not communicate. They could not use public transport. There were so many limitations tagged because they were Jews, and it ended up in a very disastrous um, end for Jews. And in that process, many Jews died, millions of Jews were killed, and some of them did manage to leave their country. And out of them, this boat is one of those who survived. So he's trying to say that, thought I heard the thunder rumbling in the sky. So suddenly, while he was writing this poem, he could hear rumbling is usually referred to something which makes a lot of noise. Sometimes we do try to refer rumble to what is happening in our tummy when you have an upset stomach. Here, a rumbling means when something is echoing, thunder. So he could hear that maybe it's the indication of a thunderstorm or a storm is coming, or some it's going to be the weather is going to be bad. So he thought that I can hear a thunderstorm in the sky. It was Hitler over Europe saying they must die. So this thundering is usually referred to the air attacks, and he's trying to say that it is not a thunderstorm, but it has been referred to all the air attacks on Jews, particularly to eradicate, to kill Jews, and how in every speech that Adolf Hitler used to give, he kept on saying that Jews must die. Sometimes now, this is one of the best times to yeah, I should say, polish your reading skills. So try to read an extract or some part of Adolf Hitler's autobiography, Mi Kampf. It's easily accessible on internet, so you can do that. Oh, we were in his mind, my dear. Oh, we were in his mind. And he's talking about himself. We is referred to all the Jews. And because the poet is also a Jew, he said he's not talking about someone else. He's not talking about a dog or an animal. He's talking about us. Us is referred to the Jews. He's talking about us as Jews, and he wants all the Jews to be killed, to be erased from Germany. Saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin. When I was trying to explain things yesterday, You could see that how he went to a committee, how he tried many things when he went to when he moved to a new country. Now we come to know that he's moved to America and he lives in New York, and how he felt so unwelcome because generally people do not welcome other people coming from different regions, you know. So at the same time, he's trying to show the economic imbalance between the poor and the rich. He's also trying to say that how there are so many facilities in this new country, and the rich are living in palaces. But then there's not even a hole for us as refugees. You know, that's what he said yesterday. So it's not that everyone is living equally in harmony and peace, and everyone is getting the same facilities to live in peace and security. You know, you have to pay a price when you're moving to a new country out of your choice. So he said that he saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin. Poodle is a breed of a dog. If you can just turn around and go on page number 72, you have a small reference section. So he said that I saw someone it's a very small breed of a dog, and this poodle was fastened with a pin in a jacket. That means the poodle was carried very comfortably, very safely. So a door opened and a cat let in, and then somebody opened a door and a cat was allowed to enter the house. But they weren't German Jews, my dear, but they weren't German Jews. Very sad. He's trying to say that a place I have come to a country where animals are taken care of so lovingly. A dog is carried securely, and a cat is allowed to enter, but there is no place for German Jews, you know. And he's also trying to. It has a deeper meaning. He's trying to explain that how Jews are not welcome in a new country. We are not only talking about America in this reference because the poet is living in New York, but it happens with every refugee, irrespective of religion or background. A refugee is a refugee. You know, he or she is never welcomed. So this is what he's saying. We were not welcome in America. We were not welcomed in a new country, even though animals were loved. You know, went down the harbor and stood upon the quay. Quay is pronounced as key. So harbor is the dock. Is like how you have a parking lot for cars. You call it car parking. You have a parking lot for buses. You have a parking lot for aircrafts. In the same way, you have a parking lot at right at the on the banks of the sea for big ships, not boats, but big ships. So when he went to the harbor, he stood upon on the quay. Quay, if you refer, it says a stone or metal platform in a harbor where boats come in to load or to leave. So it's almost like right on the banks, right on the edge of the sea, and they have made a platform where all the ships come and they sit and they go and they come and like sit there for some time. So the poet has visited the harbor, saw the fish swimming as if they were free, and he saw that all the fish in the sea is moving very freely. He's trying to say that he feels that the fish in the sea are living more freely than the poet and all the refugees all around the world living in exile when they are forced to leave their country and come and live in a new country. So he's trying to compare his situation worse than a fish in the sea. And he said, "I wish I was a fish. I could have moved more freely and happily rather than myself living in a different country where I don't have a place to live, where I'm living not even in a hole. Maybe he's homeless. Maybe he's living on the streets. You never know." When he moved to America recently, only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. So he's trying to show the distance between him and the fish. Maybe he's standing on the banks of the sea and the fish is in the water. So there's only 10 feet difference between him and the fish. But just imagine the sense of freedom between that fish and this man. You know, that fish, even though there's a very small distance between, a short distance between the fish and the boat, but they are in a very different situation where the fish is free to move in its own territory, and the poet, being a human being, is confined, and he does not have the freedom to roam around, to live like a normal citizen. Let's not say citizen, but like a normal human being. You know, everything is limited.